seems I'm unfashionably late. But I'm ready to give you everything you want.
How are we going today, Minasan? It's been a minute. Don't worry, we're going to be diving into what Rosa was saying about her daughter's true potential, tying that into what Urser found. Seeing how this will fit into the story, we're going to be imagining something quite hype and something quite shonen. We're going to be breaking down the epicenter of this Bayonetta 3 trailer, and I have 3 videos lined up awaiting approval. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on post notifications so you do not miss your daily dose of Bayonetta 3 content on this channel. I gotta give credit where credit is due. Urser, who was able to eagle eye this cool detail, is the one to thank. So please go ahead and subscribe, follow this amazing person who also does adorable animations. Urser was also the one who discovered the Urser flying object in a previous video, so that's a cool little reminder too. So we get a better look at Cereza's new glasses. Notice how I'm still saying Cereza because there still is a small chance that this person is not our Bayonetta. But a closer look shows us that there is an apparent moon and sun imagery, but I'll get into that in a sec. The arms are now obviously different, having a lot more of a wavier structure than of the floral-like structure in Bayonetta 2, which is another hint to add onto the obvious points that this is little Cereza who's grown up. It resembles more of the Bayonetta 1 glasses, especially the arms. So I wonder, did brave Cerecita model her glasses to look like that witch who helped her in her adventures, referring to our Bayonetta? Because you gotta remember, her character development was extensive in Bayonetta 1, which ultimately led to the Nexus event that made her into an empowered, bubbly fighter, different to our Bayonetta. The optical frames are wider, directly referencing her red wide frames in Bayonetta 1, and again looking similar to my ones. So going back to the wavy structure, it actually reminded me of the mermaid-inspired glasses that were scrapped in Bayonetta 2. We have the moon on her left eye and the sun on her right eye. Definitely a nice parallel to the eyes of the world. So this could be a hint that the eyes of the world are coming back into play in Bayonetta 3. Or this could just be a nice detail that designers wanted with little to no story element. But let's assume these do hold some story weight, some story value. It's a beautiful hint. You know how excited I am now because we're going to finally see the eyes of the world possibly in their full potential in this game. We've been predicting these things for over a year, ever since the single digits of our Bayonetta 3 theories. So if you want to check them out, please feel free to tell me what I got wrong and what I got right. All because of that Rosa scene, and even John, I'll get to her in a sec, foreshadowed the coming of Cereza's true potential, whatever that may be. I'm also doing a surprise Bayonetta livestream this weekend, so make sure to reserve your seat in the link above. It's already a given, and I'm sure a lot of people are hoping for this, that she wields Lumen Sage powers alongside her Umbran. They may even go about the route that this brave Cerecita unlocks her Lumen Sage powers rather than our Bayonetta, because we have to remember our Bayonetta, especially after she was sealed, had an underlying hatred for Baldur and Lumen Sages on what they did to her clan, so I'm gonna call it, our Bayonetta won't get Lumen Sage powers. However, since brave Cerecita was empowered and learned how to deal with her problems properly, it seems like she would have been more forgiving. We don't know her version of Bayonetta 1 or Bayonetta 2, if those events ever even happened in her timeline as she grew up, but what we do know is that she was never sealed and had 500 years to basically grow and train up. So my next prediction is that brave Cerecita will be the one who happily uses her Lumen Sage potential. To explain it more simply, our Bayonetta is Todoroki before he accepted his fate, when he had a grudge against his dad, Endeavor, so he only ever used his ice quirk. Brave Cerecita is Todoroki after his fight with Midoriya, when he accepted himself and owned his quirk. It kind of makes sense as to why this brave Cerecita is wearing solar glasses, or solar inspired glasses, which hint that she is possibly more forgiving of the Lumen Sages, or anyone for that matter. Or, to counter my counter theory, our Bayonetta may have already come to terms with Baldur after the events of Bayonetta 2, where her and Baldur finally got some closure. This could then lead to her accepting her Lumen Sage origins and learning Lumen magic, which they'll surprise us in the next trailer, or maybe just in the game alone. Actually, I prefer it in the game. So we may be able to see creative handles Lumen Sage Cereza become canon in Bayonetta 3. All my Black Clover fans rejoice because we may get to see some Asta Yuna style fights with Bayonetta and Cereza. Our Bayonetta wielding true Umbran magic with brave Cerecita's true Lumen magic against whoever the antagonist is. I was hoping for a Bayonetta and Eggman mutual agreement tag team, but I'd be super happy with Bayonetta and Cerecita. Let me know down below who you think them two would be versing. I'm thinking the God of Purgatorio, since it's possible that he was the one who helped discover disguised little Cereza when she was younger, when Bayonetta and her first met, or her first encounter with her, or maybe even Baiki John at this point. Now, some of you have pointed out that Lumen Sage powers are taught and passed down rather than unlocked, and I have an epic answer for that. Someone is definitely going to teach our Bayonetta, or more so Brave Cereza, on how to use Lumen Sage magic, and I don't want to spoil the whole answer because that will be covered in a future episode. More about that at the end. This deserves its own video. But I don't want to just talk about the Lumen Sage aspect that Cereza has, but more so the Eyes of the World and how they're going to play into the story in Bayonetta 3. In the previous episodes, we talked about Loki's Nothingness card supposedly erasing the Eyes of the World in our timeline where our Bayonetta resides. But maybe in the second one, this didn't happen. So just to reiterate, the left eye of darkness may still be in the second timeline where Brave Cereza resides. You may be asking, what about the right eye of light? Isn't Brave Cereza going to be using these from her glasses in? Well, again, it could just be a writer's detail, but in a previous episode we said that the second timeline's right eye was the one being used in the first timeline, and its absence is what caused the second Armageddon to happen, and that's what we're seeing in the trailer. That may be a little confusing, but basically as of right now there is no right eye of light in just the left eye in the second timeline. So these glasses could just be a design choice with no story weight. But I think Cereza or Bayonetta should be able to wield both eyes of the world, or even better yet, have Bayonetta wield the left eye and have Brave Cereza wield the right eye. John in Bayonetta 1 had also foreshadowed our Bayonetta's true potential, but I also think that she was referring to regaining her own memories back. I don't really think our John will have Lumen Sage powers, but maybe the second timeline's Baiki John will have it, since their upbringings are now completely different. So how could we get another right eye in existence? Well, this is where it becomes speculation. I thought of possibly having an artificial right eye or a newly created one by the god of Purgatorio, or maybe even a semi-right eye of lightness that Baldur left behind before he was taken by Ace. You also have the possibility of another timeline coming in that is completely different to our two timelines. They are endless, so comment down below, how do you think the right eye of light will return in Bayonetta 3? I'm sure the writers have put it in a logical way, or maybe even disproved my theory that the right eye of light was only used in the second timeline. Regardless of how the right eye exists, I can imagine this scene right here. So the final antagonist has been beaten. One of these Cerezas would have to be the next god of chaos that Rosa was referring to. In the multiversal war theory, we hope that the three Cerezas would be governing the next trinity of realities after the whole second Armageddon arc. The only thing I want the developers and writers to put in is to show the Eyes of the World being evident in their usage, even in gameplay, if we do ever get to use them. This is similar to the Infinity Stone trope in the MCU, where a lot of the stones individually were used in more politically driven ways than of a weapon of offense. I understand that, since they literally have infinite energy and that's what their energy should be used for. So similar to that in Bayonetta 3, since they've explained that they grant the user nigh omniscience, great power, and great energy. Individually, both the eyes should be allowed for a scope of limited omniscience, allowing the user to have nearly one equal to that of a god. A skilled user of one of the eyes is capable of seeing through deception and even can create a beam of light sufficiently powerful enough to destroy a planet. However, to counter my argument, I'd still be happy if they kept these as political weapons to insinuate how powerful the eyes are. Like, they shouldn't just be used for fights, but more so making a statement in manipulating reality itself. Kinda like how nuclear warheads these days are political statements, like you wouldn't use one in a mere 1v1 if they stole your simp money or whatnot, but more so used to create a defensive stalemate between nations. On top of the Eyes of the World and Bayonetta's Lumen Sage potential, we also have the possibility of Luca's character unlocking his Lumen Sage abilities, just like in our previous episode. How this will play into Bayonetta 3, I've been thinking about this even before the 2021 Bayonetta 3 trailer, so if you do not want to miss out on that epic episode, like the video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you do not miss your daily dose of Bayonetta 3. Remember to support Urser for sparking this awesome topic. Stay safe, Minasan. I'm Rakunx, and never get disheartened.